Okay, so for today's tutorial, we're going to work on templates. Now, a template is a pattern that you can follow along that allows you to not have to think as much about creating a layout. It gives you guidelines and kind of little roadmap, I guess, to follow and where to place things. So you've got like your clusters here that you can add the flowers from your kit. This right here would be for a piece of paper. Then you've got the 3 different papers that you can add here. Now with the layout also, if your pictures aren't horizontal, you could easily rotate this template and use it in a different direction. You would probably just, if you were to use a banner, you would want to put that along here if you were rotating it. So we're going to just go ahead and do this layout template step by step. So first off, we're going to start with the photo spots. Now, if you don't have 6 photos, you can always use one of these spots to maybe do some journaling in or to put just a piece of paper. But this has the ability to be able to add 6 photos too. So first off, you want to select the layer that you're going to be using first. So you want to make sure that you're clicking on that layer so that when you bring your picture or your piece of paper in, if you have this layer selected, it's going to go directly above that instead of having to go over here and find where you've added it and then move things around. It just makes it a little bit easier. So if you'll select it, make sure that it's selected by having the handles on. Then when you pull something in or open it up, it will go directly above that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to where my pictures are and just drag those in. So I'm going to hold my left click on my mouse and drag that to my layout. Then once that loads, you can hold your shift key down and resize that. Now you don't have to resize it exactly the same size as that spot. And I'm going to show you how this works. So once you have it pretty much sized up the way you're going to want it, what you'll do is you'll make sure that that layer is selected. And then you left click on here and you click on clipping mask. And that clips it to the layer that's directly below it. So now I can either move it to where I want to. I can still resize it a little bit. So I'll hold my shift key down, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to resize that down a little bit. Just make sure it's covering that rectangle shape below it. And then once I'm okay with that, I hit enter, or you can also click that check mark that's up here. And once you're good with that, then you can click, you hold your control down and select the photo layer and then the layer below it. So you've got both of those highlighted. Then you right click your mouse and click on merge layers. And that makes that into one layer. So I'm going to just go ahead and grab another picture. I'm going to hold my left click on my mouse, drag that to my layout. Once that loads, resize it down a little bit. And then I'm going to clip it to the layer below it. So I'm going to right click on that layer and click on clipping mask. And then I can hold my shift key down and resize that or position it to where I want it below. Once I've got that okay, I hit my enter, or you can click on the check mark. I go back over here, right click on my mouse and click on merge down. Click on my next picture spot. Drag that in. hold my shift key down as I resize. You just want to make sure that your picture that you're putting above it covers up that layer below. You can always go bigger, but you want to make sure that it at least covers that pattern. Hit enter to okay my adjustments. And then I'm going to right click over here, click on clipping mask, and then click both of those layers and merge those layers. You can also, I believe in this program, we'll try it on this next one, is hit Control E and that will merge it down with just the control function. But we'll test that out here in just a second. Drag my other picture there. Resize that. Go over to my layer, right click, select clipping mask, and then Control E merges that down to that layer. Next one. Right click, clipping mask, Control E merges that down. And our last photo spot. Click here, clipping mask. Move it around if I need to. I'm good with that. So now I hit Control E and that merges that down. Okay, so I've got all my photo spots. So next I'm going to do this layer right here behind, which would be a cardstock is what I'm going to choose to put there. So I'm going to go to where my kit is and I'm going to pull in a cardstock. So I hold my right click down, drag that to my layout. If it's not in the right spot, you can use your layer panel to drag things. But once it's in the layer right above where you're wanting to put it, you'll right click there, do your clipping mask, it clips it right to that paper. If you need to do any resizing, you can do that with your paper now. Then once you're good with that, you hit Control E. So my next one I'm going to do is this paper right here. So I'm going to go back to my kit and I think I'm going to do a printed paper for this. Maybe I'll try this one here. Right click over in your layer, click on clipping mask, Control E merges that down. My next layer is this. I'm going to put a solid right here. So I'm going to go back to my kit, grab a solid, drag it to my layout, click on clipping mask and Control E. And then I've got just that background paper right there. It's my last one to do. So I'm going to go back, grab a piece of paper to put there. And this one you can clip it to the background layer or just leave it as the background since it's the last one that's going to be going on there anyways. Okay, so I've got my papers all set up. Then next I've got this piece of tape. So a piece of tape there, you can go find a piece of tape from your kit. If maybe your kit that you're using doesn't have tape, you could put some staples. This is just showing you how you can add something to your pictures to attach them to your layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click where this tape is, select that layer, then I'm going to go to my kit because I know that I have some tape in there. And I'm going to grab a piece of tape, drag it to my layout. And then before I put it on top of that, just so that I can see it, I'm going to click on this tape from the template and delete that, so because I don't need that anymore. So I'm going to add my piece of tape right there. Hold my shift. I'm going to resize it down a little bit because I want it a little bit smaller. And if I wanted to, maybe I want to add some tape to this one, or you can add a staple, whatever you decide to do. You don't have to add anything, but I think that I want to add another piece of tape there just because there's a lot of empty space where this photo is. Rotate that. And put that piece of tape there. You can see it's below that picture also. So if I want to move that above that, I can either drag it in my layers panel above the photo, or I can hit my control right bracket because I know that brings it up a layer at a time. So I've got my tape there. So now we're going to work on this area right here. So I've got this paper behind that I could maybe put some ephemera here, or I can clip a piece of paper. What I think I'm going to do is look at my ephemera in my kit because I know that I have this piece. So I'm going to click on there, this piece, drag it to my layout, and then pull it down here, put it on my layout. So I can resize this down if I want to, which I'm going to do. Hit enter, and then I can go over to my layers to where that piece of paper in the layer is and delete that, or you can delete it beforehand. Okay, I think I'm going to go next is replace this banner. So I'm going to go to my kit. I've clicked this banner, so I know it's going to go directly above that. Go to my kit and find a banner to use. Drag it to my layout. And then resize it if you need to. So I'm going to hold my shift key down, resize that and place it similar to where the template is showing, and delete that layer because I don't need to save that anymore. Okay, so next I'm going to do some flowers. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those all at once instead of individually. So I'm going to click on this top layer one so that everything is above there. And I'm going to go back to my kit and I'm going to select 6 flowers that I might want to use. And you can always duplicate flowers if you don't have 6 that you're wanting to use and you want to maybe use one more than one time. But you can hold your control key down and select the ones that you want. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'll grab this one too. So I've got 6 flowers. So just drag those to your layout with your right click and just let go. Oops, it looks like I must have still had my banner, so I can go ahead and delete that. Okay, so you can spread your flowers out just to kind of see which ones you have and where you want to use them. Which one do you want to use first? So I think I'm going to put my pink one where this gray one is. So I'll drag this down here. I'm going to hold my shift key and resize that down so that it's about the same size as that gray flower. Pull it above there. And I know that that one is below, so I'm going to hold my control key down and click on my left bracket until it goes right below that gray one. That makes it easier to just go ahead and delete that one. And we'll place a flower here where that one is. Resize it down, holding your shift key if you need to resize it. Drag it over the top of there. And then I'm going to hold my control down, left bracket till it goes right below the one that I'm replacing. Delete that one. And just follow this step as you need to with your flowers. I'll just do this as we're doing. Place that there, hold my control key down, my left bracket till it goes below that one right there. Then I can select that and delete it. Whoops, wrong one. Control Z fixes that. So select that one, the template piece, delete that template piece. Next, we're gonna drag this flower, resize it, hold my shift key down. Now I'm going to leave this flower on top of the one below. You can see right here that this one is below these flowers, but just because this type of flower is a taller flower, I want it to be on top, just because if this were a real layout, that's the way it would fit on here. So I'm going to just move it aside a little bit so I don't have to move it below. Click on this one that I want to get rid of, the placement, and then bring that back over here. Then next one we're going to put here. I think I'll use this green one. Hold my shift key down to resize that approximately the same size as this one. Put it over the template piece. Hold my control key and my left bracket till it goes right below that piece. Then I can click on that template piece and delete it. And we've just got one more flower. And you don't have to do all of the pieces on here on the template if you don't want to. You could possibly put a button here instead of a flower, or maybe you have a flare in your kit that you want to use, or a tag or something like that you could put here also. But I'm just gonna do a flower cluster here. So once I've got that sized, I'm gonna use my control right bracket to move that down. Oh, sorry, that was the left bracket because I was moving it down. Click on that template piece and delete that. So now we've got all of our flowers on our layout. So next I'm going to replace these these leaf template pieces. So I need to click on one of those so that my leaf goes directly above that. Go to my kit and find some leaves. I've got a couple different options. I think I'm going to use this leaf. Drag it to my layout. Rotate it. Resize it. Put that there. I'm pretty sure my kit has some branches, and where these are a little bit taller of a leaf and my kit only has the smaller size leaves, I think I'm going to go grab a branch and put it in place of those leaves also. So I'm going to go to my kit. Yeah, so I've got a couple different little branches. Grab this, drag it to my layout. I'm going to put this here instead, since I don't have a tall leaf in this kit. Place that there. Then I'm going to click on that template and go ahead and delete that because I don't need that anymore. I'm going to delete this leaf. And I think in place of that leaf, I'm going to find this other branch that's in this kit and drag it to my layout. Go ahead and hold your shift key down, resize that and place it where you want it to be. Okay, so our next, it looks like our last piece in our template is to replace this tag. So you could replace this with a tag from your kit, or maybe have another different ephemera that you want to use. If you don't want to do journaling, you could put a ticket or some little tag there. But I'm going to go ahead and go to my kit. I know it has some little tags here. Grab this one. And it doesn't have to be a circle tag. If you want to use a rectangular one or whatever shape you want, just something that fills in that area. I'm going to click on that layer and move it below that template piece so that I can delete that. Delete that. So now I've replaced all of the different pieces of the template, and now I'll just go ahead and add shadows to these. So I'm going to need to load my styles. And those should be in your folder if those aren't there anymore. Click on OK. So now I've got my shadows. So my tape, remember, is my first shadow. And I'll just quickly add the shadows here, finish up this layout so that you can see it all complete. And I think I'm going to grab, I like to attach my banners when I do a banner. So either with a staple right here or a button. So I'm going to quickly go grab from my kit a staple, drag that to my layout. It's going to be up here. And I can go ahead and grab that down, rotate it a little bit. There we go. Just to attach that banner to make it look like there's something that's holding it there. Go ahead and add my shadow onto that staple. And there we have it. We have a completed layout using a template. Then you'll just go ahead and you'll save your file as a PSD if you're still wanting to come back and maybe do some journaling or a title. You could do that, and if you're totally complete with your layout, you'll export it as a JPEG, and that will flatten everything so that it's ready to print.